A bug fell on the bed and tried to crawl into the protagonist's ear but was blocked by his headphones. It crawled onto his face and entered his nostril. The protagonist woke up, removed the bug, and threw it against the wall. The bug didn't give up and directly burrowed into his right hand, moving wildly under the skin. The protagonist quickly tied his arm with a headphone cord to stop the bug from moving up. The bug vanished without a trace. Upon waking, the protagonist noticed his right hand felt numb and was not fully under his control. His mother said it would be fine if he used it less at night. The protagonist didn't argue and decided to stop using his right hand from that day. But when he reached to pick up an eraser from the floor, something strange happened. He couldn't believe it when he saw the eraser. During gym class, he threw a ball with his right hand without even looking, and it went straight into the basket. The protagonist was surprised. After school, a female classmate approached him, and he awkwardly began touching her. Something was wrong with his right hand. The protagonist rushed home to research the issue online. While searching, an eye suddenly appeared on his right hand. Believing he was hallucinating, he poked it with a utility knife. In an instant, his right hand morphed into a snarling monster, then swiftly into a creature with a mouth and 4 eyes. The protagonist was shocked and confused when his right hand introduced itself as Little Right. It was a parasite, a species that survives by taking over human brains. That night, it couldn't get into the protagonist's brain, so it chose to enter his right hand instead, and somehow fused with it. They were in a symbiotic state. Little Right used the protagonist's computer to explore human civilization and took him to the library daily to study, which exhausted him. Little Right told him that not all parasites were as kind as it was. Little Right had a large group of similar creatures that invaded Earth that night, taking control of human brains while they slept. Humans under their control became like zombies, living by preying on other humans. The protagonist glanced at the news and saw that there had indeed been many mysterious human deaths recently. During a school assembly, Little Right suddenly told the protagonist that it sensed another of its kind there. The one it was referring to turned out to be the new female teacher. The teacher also noticed the protagonist and spoke thoughtfully to the audience. After the assembly, she invited the protagonist to meet 2 other companions, a school security guard and a new transfer student. The teacher invited the protagonist to join them because they had never seen a parasite coexist with a human without taking over the brain, which was extremely rare and needed to be studied. The ultimate goal of the teacher and her group was to establish a food chain system that could coexist with humans, allowing them to feed on humans while living peacefully with them. To achieve this, they even sent other parasites to control humans running for political office to gain power over humans. After learning the truth, the protagonist didn't agree to join them. As expected, they soon sent the security guard to eliminate him. A bug jumped onto the bed, burrowed into a man's ear while he slept, and took control of his brain. When the man woke up, his eyes moved eerily, and he silently approached his wife. More and more humans were being controlled by parasites, living by preying on humans. After the protagonist refused their invitation, they sent the powerful security guard to eliminate him. Feeling the danger, Little Right quickly transformed into a pair of blades to block the attack. Little Right instructed the protagonist to approach the security guard and, at the right moment, stab him with a steel pipe. The security guard was pierced by the pipe and fell heavily to the ground. The protagonist hurried home, but soon Little Right warned him that a parasite was approaching. The protagonist hid behind a wall, nervously watching the door, but it was his mother who entered. Just as he breathed a sigh of relief, Little Right said that this was the security guard from earlier. Before the protagonist reacted, a tentacle pierced his heart. His body went limp, collapsing to the ground, unresponsive to Little Right's calls. The security guard, previously knocked down, was not dead and encountered the protagonist's mother returning home from work during his struggle. The parasite inside him possessed her body and returned to kill the protagonist. The next day, the protagonist, who was supposed to be dead, miraculously came back to life from a pool of blood. He took off his clothes and found that his